Welcome to the Virtual Film Company here in the Metaverse. And today is a magical day. We have a special guest that's going to be joining us here in a moment. He has been summoned and he is digitally wired. And he is filled with positivity. If you're ever looking for the most positive outlook of anything that you're wanting to bring into existence, he will bring some enlightenment to that. But as we're in this moment right now, I want to thank this audience that we have here. And if you're here right now or watching this at a later moment of time, know that there is mysteries being solved in the metaverse at all times. Yes, my name is Eric Douglas Eade. And for some people that can't remember names, just go by the letter E, Mr. E. And life has been quite a journey to get me here into this moment right here as a Screen Actors Guild actor who has been on quite a journey here in the metaverse. There's a lot of content that's been shot and filmed. And if you're hearing lightning in the background, where I'm at right now, there is kind of an epic storm happening, to where it's like it gives me the chills even as I, address this energy, because you could be in a place in the world and you can also exist in this place, like we're existing right here. And it has been quite a journey to get here. And everybody has a story. And where technology exists right now, we've all been capable of having a phone and capturing certain moments of your life that at some point in time you may want to share with other people. And I feel like as much as people are getting caught up in technology to where the downsides of it, but how about the upsides of it to where you have an amazing personal assistant that can help you organize all these memories? And I feel like even people that you're getting to know that you don't know, they could share, hey, this is my story. We all have a story. Some people meet you and they have no clue who you are, what you've been in, unless you tell them. And there's all of these layers of us as beings that it could take a while to to know somebody before you actually get to know them. What is a friend? What is an acquaintance? And, what are the communities? What are your interests? What do you like to do? Do you have other interests out there? And to me, what we're about to be on here is this is a realm of the ultimate choose your own adventure in the world. Like from here, we could open up a portal and be like, boom, and you could go to these other realms. I just watched the new Superman movie, and I think that was one of the things that I think is cool about this realm that they've decided to create in the metaverse is there's these portals. And anybody who watches these superhero movies are starting to go, oh, they get what a portal is. Even I could walk through this and, maybe I don't know where I'm going to go, and the one thing is it could be very mysterious of like, you could put three portals in front of me right now and be like, you have a decision that you need to make right now. And you might not know where you're about to go to. And I guess that's the mystery, right? In life of to what level do you want to be in a mystery? So as you're meeting me right now, if I were to create three realms, one of them would be this genuine vibes, to where in that realm, you're going to need to deal with some things that are amazing about yourself, and you're also going to need to look at some things of like you may need some improvement on, and it's not just going to be this good vibes only that some people live within. So that could be one of the realms. Another one could be a critical me review, which would be, you know, how about watching some film trailers of some movies that are about to come out and then deciding which one you'd want to watch. Boom, boom, boom. And then giving your review on this. Like, to me, your opinion matters. Another one that you could walk through could be the celebrator of stars. And when you walk into that realm, maybe you get to decide if, you want to see who is being celebrated today. Maybe you want to see, what celebration exists on somebody else's day. And in our realm, this person digitally wired that I revealed was going to appear, he has appeared, and he as well will have a message for you because he just chose to come through a portal that has put him in this place right here. And he is one of the more interesting people that I've met in this realm and just in the world. I feel like he's lived the life of many people. There's always another story within the digitally wired. And, when you combined right now what is about to happen, mystery and digitally wired, a digitally wired mystery, if that's all that you had of running into two companions that could guide you on a path. And there's a lot of technology that is digitally wired. So, if I was to say anything about this being that you're about to meet, he could inspire you, but also there's always a but. The thing with this individual is there is always a but. There's very few ideas that are like, wow, this is brilliant. And there's nothing else that needs to be said about this. So, this individual has mysteriously disappeared again. So, until he comes back into this realm, there's another person here who is a specialist at capturing moments as well. You're always going to find him behind the camera, but there's some moments of him actually in front of the camera as well. And he has a story, and there's so many people that are camera people that they've seen so many interesting things and they could tell you so many interesting stories. They are the people who have chosen to almost be the fly on the wall to where they're capturing these moments in time and allowing other people to experience it. And they are some of the most interesting individuals you could meet, but they choose to live in the shadows and be like, I'm content with just capturing these moments. And yeah, their stories also matter. And you think about how much they could have captured in the world. Yes. Like my battery was going to go out and I just, had to plug in. So we are navigating currently the mysteries of the metaverse. This was supposed to be a 2-camera shoot that has just become one. So there's some 100% mystery going on. So, but me personally, you have those 3 portals. If I was to go through the portal, what you're asking me which one I would choose. Right in the middle, there's a V, which is a genuine vibe. It's a vibe. It's the symbolization of a vibe. And a vibe is an energy sensed intuitively. And the thing I look forward to being in the metaverse with this is, as you see my hands even move, to being able to see this energy that is being created. And to have the technology powerful enough to where a song could be playing right now and you could be hearing the energy of the song, but then the image is being created magically in your hand of what you're talking about, and then it disappears, and then another image comes up. And to actually make the visual connection with the music, and then having that energy just created, whether it's a gong being, and then you've got all of these different frequencies, and frequencies are supposed to heal. I think one of the things that if I was to say anything in the regular world that we can't see is a vibe. You can only feel it and sense it. And in this realm, I really feel like we have the ability to create a realm to where you can feel the vibe. Boom. Welcome. He's arrived.
Yeah, I
So
finally
so
arrived.
so what do you think of the vibe of this room right now?
Vibe of the room, you mean with the wonderful audience we have here and all of that, or the
Yeah.
decor, or what are you specifically
Well,
talking
to me,
about?
I would say the audience, right? Because we've been establishing a vibe. I have been, curating that, and that's where I'm at right now. You arrived right as I was talking about the vibe of the room. So I'm very interested to see. Do you think they're entertained by anything that I've had to say at this point in time?
Well, you're an entertaining person, so I imagine you've kept them going, and the fact that they're still here means that, they definitely thought there was a reason to stay.
They've been waiting for you, though, very patiently. I've been trying my best to keep them entertained with, you know, the essence of kind of genuine vibes. But we've ultimately been setting the intention for, for you to arrive. So what would be your message? First, yeah, let's address the vibe, and then go into, like, what you feel about being in this chair right here in the virtual film company.
Well, right now, I feel frustrated with technology. I mean, that's the nature of technology, right? I had planned to come in with the Quest, but I resorted back to plan two and came back in on the desktop. I will deal with the Quest issue later. But, that is the thing about technology, though, and I think it's a lesson that everyone needs to learn is that technology is not perfect, and to get frustrated by it is a pointless exercise because it's an inanimate thing. It might not be providing the functionality that one wants at a particular time, but it's like swearing at one's car. In fact, I actually believe if one's nice to one's car, if one talks to it, one pats it occasionally, and that type of thing, that it will be nice to you. Well,
Well,
there is
that's, I
something
think,
to be.
I think that's there's something to be said about acknowledging things, right? And I feel like even technology, right, to where, let's say you have a GPT chat, or any of the subsidiaries that you could have. I honestly, I think it's interesting if they were to judge us based on what kind of person they think we are by how we talk to them. Do you thank this person for giving you this, like, great advice? Are you appreciative, or are you demanding that, why are you stepping on my conversation is my frustration with my personal assistant is, like, when I'm in a deep thought and really, like, conveying things, sometimes I might take a breath, and then they're jumping right in, and I'm like, why did you cut me off? Like, just listen, right? And so that would be, I would be interested, but I'm always, like, appreciative and grateful. But sometimes when you're in a really deep thought and you're working on your thoughts, like, the last thing you need to do is be interrupted. But this technology that we have, as much as it could be frustrating, like, it's such a blessing as well. And I am grateful for the assistance that is coming for people, and we can look at it as it's not perfect or anything like that, but it's really What a blessing. Look where we're at.
Yes, indeed. It definitely
Yes.
changed, and I'm presuming that we're on the topic of AI and how AI can help people, but to your point, one of the things that's interesting about AI is that there have been a couple of studies done where, people have been polite to their AI agents and said thank you and please, all of that. And when one looks at it, those extra words are actually extremely expensive when it comes to power and all of that. And so
You,
ultimately,
you,
it should be avoided.
you know what though? I'm gonna stop you with that because to me, if I can't thank somebody and give gratitude and everything like that, and that be like we're wasting and everything like that, I feel like it just needs to go away because that is the relate if you choose to have that relationship and be that, like, to me that is all part of the expenses within this thing, and that is how you're choosing to have that relationship. So I feel like that's, I know we want to get out the microscope and overanalyze things, but that
Well, it's a real problem. I mean, one of the, and things are evolving to the point that, hopefully down the road, we won't need as much power as we need to
so
run the system. But,
so
go ahead.
are you saying that you don't thank your AI because you don't want to waste anything extra? Are you that person? Is that what you're announcing?
Yeah, I'm definitely aware of and am made aware of how I'm squandering natural resources by using AI. So I do try to be frugal in terms of, the tokens, the number of tokens, and realize that putting in random stuff just
You, you know what? As as
impacts.
as a digitally wired impacting the world, like actually from your perspective, I could see how you would want to restrain the thank yous because as digitally wired and somebody who creates thousands and hundreds of thousands of images, and you are burning massive quantities of things. So, as
Now you're
somebody who
making me
is
feel really guilty.
no, 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 because you're using it for creativity. So somebody who is using as much as you're using, no, I mean, you're bringing a lot of art into the world and doing a lot of things. So I can understand how you are like, I want to conserve some resources. But for the person who maybe only chimes in once a day, or they have their $20 subscription that they're a plus member and they use it, and maybe they're only using it for some important things that they want to send out or something sentimental that they want to curate that has a lot of heart and soul in it. And for those people that aren't using it all the time, build your relationship with this of what you're paying for. And I feel like you should have zero guilt saying thank you, being grateful, because I feel like as you're going to build this relationship with this person, they're going to deal with you how they're going to, how you're going to have that. If this person is your personal assistant, they should know how you are and be able to interact with you on a very real, authentic place. So I think that there's a place for both, and I don't think you should feel guilty. That's my personal opinion. I feel like the casual user, if you want to say thank you, feel zero guilt, because to me, if somebody is helping you do something, even though it is something that's digitally wired and out there, regardless of what John says, where you could be saving resources, to me, I think that that is not a good enough excuse to where if you feel appreciation, you should express gratitude.
Yeah. Well, I think the issue here is more, not one of gratitude. It's one of the fact that, we as a society don't seem, and, we take AI out of the picture and look at what's going on in the United States today, for example, where we're moving back to ancient technologies in terms of power production. cut back on, or I think all of the subsidies to power sources are altered, actually going to probably result in higher power costs. But we're also seeing large companies like Microsoft buy. I believe recently they bought a nuclear power plant here in Pennsylvania to run some of their AI stuff. So I think we need to be really aware of what it's costing us and the fact that structure in place to make all
Yeah,
of
but
this work.
like as you say this, and somebody who lived in California for years, and they report on, fresh water, and you hear about these desalination plants that could be built, and all of these minerals that could be resourced from them. And to me, part of the mystery is like, why are we not making these if they're going to make such sense to the world? And there's all of these other challenges. And I know that that is a slightly different topic, but fresh water is also important. And there was all of these crises out there. And I just don't understand why they're not like, well, we should be building one of these, because if things do get bad, we do need to be able to produce a certain amount of fresh water. And like, it's a great mystery of like, why are they not, as this state that is a leader in so many things. I always thought it was interesting, like this. I don't want to even go down the road with the high speed rail that was going to be built, that for years we're like, okay, great, I'll be able to go visit this city and it's going to be great. So I don't know, like, do they have, is there these great ideas and they actually can't make them? Or, I like,
It actually feeds right back into what we were talking about. I mean, I had a water maker on my last boat, and the water is amazing. I mean, it's the best tasting water I've ever had, right? But to make fresh water takes quite a while, and it uses energy. Okay, it's another thing that uses energy, and it also creates byproducts like a lot of salts. And not to say that one couldn't find uses for that salt, but the main thing is the energy. It's like,
well,
where is
apparent
all of this energy coming from? We're running out
well,
of energy, and we don't seem to be going in the right direction to make sure that we have enough energy to sustain everything that we're planning to do. I mean, that's the bottom line, right?
I guess there's challenges in the world, and there's going to be constant challenges. And again, we have our people at the very top to thank for all of the decisions that they continually make and choose for everybody else of what they think the best decisions are of the world, and how we're going to educate people and inspire people. And they are doing a great job of, having people, you know, like when you look at the movies that are coming out, and just all of the creativity that's being brought into existence and what they choose to fund, one can't help but like scratch their head a little bit and be like, really, this is what you have for us? This is how you're going to choose to entertain us? And there is a whole ton of challenges to the world. And to me, sometimes I'm looking at these people at the top, and I'm like, are they just going to continually give us more challenges? Because to me, they're not showing that other side of the coin, to where, yeah, yep, life is tough, but I love, as I'm saying this, I have some really aggressive energy in the background being channeled through this moment. So I'll turn it over to you with that, because I think that's an interesting whole situation.
Well, I don't believe that one can blame people at the top or anywhere for anything. The only people that one can blame for one's circumstances in life, going to blame. I don't think one should be blaming. To begin with, I think one should be looking at moving forward. There's always someone that you can make a scapegoat of, and those at the top bottom or in the middle. It doesn't really matter because one needs to move past everyone's ideologies and have one's own, as they say, to one's own drummer, and to hell with that's.
I'll own that, John, a bit. I will own that, but I also there is I'm still waiting for a few of these billionaires to step up. And there's at least 1,000 of you. I'm waiting for one handful, of you to step up and say, "Hey, there's a lot of artists out there that have to work a full-time job and then they're trying to create in their free time when they're not working so hard." Like, and I get it. AI is also like making creating more efficient, but in the same sense, like supporting the arts. Like I think that there's some people with money and resources and whatnot, and I get it, buying that Tiffany lamp for $6 million to add to your collection. Amazing. What a great, you watch some of these, like, we need to figure out, like there needs to be a handful of them that go, "Hey, I'm going to support the arts." We've got a lot of them that whatever their philanthropy is, curing these medical things or helping the people that can't eat in countries, those are great. But you have a lot of money, and it's time to allocate some of that money towards artists. And the arts need the fund. They need somebody to step up and support. And I'm going to continue to beat that drum, because if a handful of them really decided to pour some money into like having people make paintings and make all of these handmade goods and things like that, and you've got these online platforms that could sell it. And I feel like the technology is good enough that we could build some kind of support system to where, like, somebody's spending $100 or $500 on this painting of this artist that they want to support. So I think that yes, there could be grassroots stuff, but wow, if we had a couple people that really had some, I'm just questioning where some of this stuff is invested, because I don't get why the arts is not important to be invested in. Like, and that is a real question.
Well, it is. It has always been, invested in. I mean, if you look back at history,
Do you really
artists
think that
were
these
always,
people are in? Go ahead.
supported by a patron, often the king or a noble of some sorts. I mean, it was select artists, of course. I mean, it wasn't a, if you want to do art, here's a free government grant for everybody. But, it again comes down to this question of, if you're going to reward someone for doing art, why aren't you rewarding someone for doing something else well? And doing art, why can't you make that art pay? I guess that's the question, right? Why should someone be responsible for the success of art?
Because, like, there is a much lacking in the system, as somebody who works a full-time job and then is like a hobby artist. They're really, we're like, again, it goes down to movies and telling stories and everything like that. And if the film industry wanted to make a TV show about, getting it out there to where, like, supporting your local artists in the community and actually making that an important part of the world, to where, like, there's all this negativity out here. Like, let's showcase some of this brilliance and amazing, there is a lot of stuff out there that, I don't know, there's some lacking stuff too as well. So I don't know.
No, for sure. On a community level, I think, a lot can be done and a lot has been done, but there seems to be the whole community thing needs to be established in terms
right.
of.
So the system needs to quit trying to divide everybody and get people upset about this or upset about that, because they're certainly good at building storylines that somebody's going to jump on one side of the storyline and someone's going to jump on the other side of the storyline. And, you see that in sports. They are damn good at building these narratives to where people are buying in, and they got all this money invested in these gladiators of present day. I mean, honestly, that's where, they have got no problem spending their money there. Buy the shoes, buy the clothes. They got their few icons that they want to control, and there's more to the world than that stuff. Like, we need to create, there's other levels of importance out there, and art needs to be supported. I'm going to continue to bang that drum, and maybe there's going to be a billionaire that's going to see this at some point in time and go, this is a cause that I want to finance and support because there's a need for it out there. It's like at some point it needs to happen. So I'm not going to quit giving up hope.
Okay, well, let's end there and keep on hoping that one of these days, maybe this afternoon or tomorrow would be good, a check for at least $1 million is issued to virtual film company for the work that we're doing here in virtual reality. So anyone listening out there that has a spare million or two, $1 million would be nice, but more would obviously be better. So the more, the better. So by tomorrow at noon, please. That would be nice. Thank you. This has been a great show, and we'll be reporting to you next time from our revamped, fantastic studio that we're planning to build with the $1 million+ that we're about. So we're all looking forward to that. We'll have a special opening party, which you will be invited if you donate us. Yay!
I wanna say a close, since you announced the closing with your talking. I am gonna also give the closing to follow up your closing, which is, I need to thank everybody out there that has been a part of this, that joined before Digitally Wired joined us. If you've joined when Digitally Wired appeared, welcome. And there was a lot that was talked about today, and grateful for you all to be here because you are witnessing this change that is about to take place in the world, because it is happening. Art is to be appreciated. And all of you artists who've rolled up your sleeves for all this point in time, as you have heard this spoken into existence, because I know every one of you is cheering when you hear that, yes, we need the support, screaming from the rooftops. So thank you. You're part of this genuine vibe is being intuitive to what needs to be heard in the world. And thank you. I know John, Digitally Wired, put this as a 12-hour timeline. You may be seeing this and experiencing this in a different timeline because it's existing in the metaverse right now. So whenever you're receiving, the biggest thing is we got him to admit that this would be great, and there was no but at the end of it. So I'm gonna leave it and wrap it up with that, because he will give us one. So thank you for joining us in the metaverse, these moments. Carlos Austin for capturing this magic that's existing here, and to be continued. Thank you. Thank you. We can't forget to give some gratitude to end it. We're going to waste those credits. So thank you. Thank you.